Sports Talk at the stadium from the Shrine Bowl at Wofford College in Spartanburg on this cold Saturday afternoon. Phil Kornblut and David Shelton from the High School Sports Report and the Charleston Post and Courier. Good news for Sandlapper fans. South Carolina wins the Shrine Bowl once again, David. They take down the Tar Heels 21-12. Was not an offensive showcase by any means. Defense, big play interceptions, couple of big offensive plays, and special teams the difference here.
Yeah, and I think when you get to these all-star games now, I think that's what you're going to find. The defenses kind of dominate play. I mean, South Carolina had all kinds of problems offensively trying to score, trying to run the ball. They did get a big run from Matt Colburn, a 35-yard run. They hit a big pass, and their defense came up big on a couple of occasions. All total, there were 13 tackles for loss for South Carolina, 22 in the game for both teams, and 8 sacks. So defense dominated play, but the better team won today.
Yeah. I'll tell you how it went for South Carolina offensively. They had more turnovers on offense than they had first downs.
Yeah, and that they had 3 or 4 first downs the entire game, and except for the long run and the long pass, they really did nothing offensively. But that's kind of what you come to expect in these all-star games. The defensive athletes are so strong and fast in these games, and talking to the players after the game, all these guys who are big-time prospects were talking about the speed of the game and how they thinks this prepared them for the next level. We'll see. They'll be bigger and faster in the next level, but they were pretty big and fast today.
All right, couple of standouts for South Carolina today as you saw it.
Well, Hassan Belton was the defensive MVP for South Carolina, the linebacker from Blythewood. 14 tackles. Andreas Bryant, the big nose guard from Fort Dorchester, had 2 sacks and 3 tackles for loss. And then on the offensive side, Daniel Thompson from Boiling Springs did complete 5 passes for 107 yards, had that good touchdown pass, a 29-yarder to J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. And Matthew Colburn from Dutch Fork, Mr. Football, had 71 yards rushing, and so which is a lot because the team finished with 38 total rushing yards.
Yeah, it's not good for Clemson and South Carolina in that 2 guys that were out, two of the more outstanding offensive players. Arcega-Whiteside had another big catch in the game. He's going to Stanford, and Colburn is going to Louisville. 2 guys that really the in-state schools didn't recruit very hard.
Yeah, you're going to wonder 3 years from now if you're going to wonder if they regret not recruiting him, especially Whiteside. He's 6'4", he's got such great hands. He had 2 catches today for 78 yards, and both catches were really circus-type catches. I mean, really concentration-type catches. So, Colburn, a little small for most people, but Louisville will probably get a really good back because he can fly when he gets open.
Yeah, and he showed some good moves. Defensively, you mentioned Belton. He made a lot of tackles. But the defensive front for South Carolina, I thought, did a really nice job. You mentioned Bryant. Huggins, I thought, did a nice job. They seemed to tie up the offensive lineman for North Carolina and gave the linebacker some room to make plays.
Yeah, I thought Michael Barnett, who's headed to Georgia here in a couple of weeks, I thought he played exceptionally well today. Albert Huggins was in on a lot of plays. Maybe didn't make a lot of tackles, but disrupted things in the backfield. So, yeah, you're right. I think both defensive lines for North Carolina and South Carolina, I thought they just dictated play. It was domination on both sides.
All right, so that's 3 wins in a row for South Carolina. And as Ben Freeman said afterwards, kind of an exhale for him. He feels the pressure as a head coach because he knows how important this game is to folks who follow high school football in South Carolina.
Well, this was South Carolina's 44th win in the series. It's 44-30 now. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, as he said, the people in South Carolina expect them to win this game. So there is a lot of pressure. And, we found out today that Jerry Brown from Spring Valley will be next year's head coach. The pressure is now on Jerry Brown.
Well, and what's interesting, because he's not much of a passing coach for the most part, and you do have a couple of excellent quarterbacks in the upstate next year who might be primetime prospects for Shrine Bowl quarterback.
Yeah, Jerry's a double-wing Georgia Tech type offense, and it'll be interesting to see if he's stubborn enough to say, you know what, we're going to run my offense, or if they do what is now vogue in the All-Star games is the one-back spread.
Which is kind of hard to run in a situation where you've only got 4 days to practice.
Well, yeah, the offensive lines are at a disadvantage. They don't play with each other but for 6 practices. And that's a very tough offense to block for and get that continuity. I talked to Zach Bailey from Somerville after the game, and he said it was very tough to get together, but they did the best they could, and that's and the big thing was just come here and have fun.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and help raise money for the Shriners hospitals.
Yeah, $1.5 million they turned in today for the Shriners did for the hospital, which is a great cause.
All right, David, before we let you go, need your bowl picks. Who do you like? South Carolina, Miami.
I like South Carolina. I think if they show up ready to play and they're interested, I think they're the better team, and I think they'll win.
Clemson and Oklahoma.
I think Clemson will win a low-scoring game. I don't look for a lot of offense from the Tigers, but I do think their defense will show up ready to play.
And your national champion.
I'm going to say Alabama. I'm going to say Alabama, yeah.
Good, safe pick.
Yeah.
Thank you, David Shelton. As always, enjoy being with you the last few weeks at high school football events, and have a great new year and a happy holiday.
Okay, I appreciate it.
All right, that'll do it. Sports Talk at the stadium from Wofford College. Good news, South Carolina wins the Shrine Bowl once again. Have a great weekend.